Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy, and today I have my friend, Vanessa Yee Chan, and she is someone who I have known for many, many years. She's a great businesswoman from my Brooklyn days here, and now she's expanded her business into the cannabis space, and I'm here to talk to her and let all of you guys all know what women in this modern day are capable of doing, all the hustling they can do, and the success that they have. So Vanessa, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Kathy.
Tell me all the publications that have already noticed who you are, and let us know like what esteem we are facing right now.
I love how you put it. So most recently was Harper's Bazaar, which was last week. And so they were featuring an article on women and how it's not just a boys club. It is heavily male dominated in this industry. So it definitely has been challenging in certain ways to get to this point. I've been working on this since 2020 when pandemic hit and was like, what am I going to do in those next steps, where I was planning on, I also own my family portfolio of real estate. So I was pivoting from building a building to something else because I knew that it was going to be really challenging. And I was like, really the genesis of this whole thing was to preserve the buildings and the real estate. So it came from this dispensary that I opened is part of like the cornerstone of my family's real estate holdings. My grandparents were refugees from Mozambique in the 70s, and this was their first building. Yeah. So I was very close with my grandmother.
Oh my God.
So she was like, never sell it, never think. And as a small business landlord, it's been very, very challenging with increasing utility costs, property taxes. I still have rent-controlled and rent-stabilized apartments in this building. So some people are paying $150. I've known them my entire life, so I'm never going to kick them out. But with that and studying costs rising, that deficit was really challenging, especially when COVID hit, to figure out how am I going to support this? When I have to do a major capital improvement, where am I going to get that money if I have a fixed income?
Yeah.
And so this was like kind of the idea, like if I was going to do any type of retail business in this space that we have here, and commercial spaces was just dying, especially during COVID. I was like, what can we do? And I was like, I know legalization is going to be happening in 2021 back then. And I was like, I think that it would be a great viable business to put a cannabis dispensary focused on women's wellness, because I actually found the plant much later in life, and I use it in the capacity for sleep and anxiety, and just to kind of enhance my everyday, journey and like just my daily routine, and just incorporating in that. And so I was like, let's combine the two. So really started looking into and researching all that stuff and really going into it and be like, this is doable. It's doable. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be doable. And so just kind of started volunteering for a lot of the organizations, like trader organizations that they were popping up back in the day, and just then eventually found this organization called the Cannabis Association of New York. They were originally growers that turned into a whole state trade association. And so I became the New York City regional chair and started doing events. So between 22 and 23, I did about 14 or 15 events where we had webinars. I didn't know a lot of this information, but basically I was putting on these free events to bring people to kind of educate other people, but at the same time I was learning. So I put on a banking panel, like which cannabis, which banks are going to be funding cannabis, willing to fund. So I would have a cannabis banking panel. That's genius, actually. And bringing that in. And I was asking, as a moderator, the questions that I wanted to ask even from them. I just kind of brought that. So, through that, I hooked up with a lot of the, Dutchie and some of the big brand, software and ancillary business services that were coming into the state, and just kind of, just hooked up with them. And so I'm even still now, I sit on the insurance, safety group for McNeil and Company, which is a huge workers' comp that supports cannabis in the industry. And I sit on their safety board and things like that. So all these things, helped kind of facilitate me opening it, but it was be about building my network because I didn't have any network in cannabis at all because I don't come from cannabis. That building that up and by bringing the networks to me.
I've literally never heard of anybody thinking that intelligently about how to enter a space that they have not been in before. Yeah. Instead of trying to find a network, you're like, let me create panels where these questions that I need answered get answered, but then do it in a way where we all get to kind of share in this knowledge. And then by sort of having a coalition, you form a coalition and you already know each other. By doing that, you work together to advance the policies that would help support this business here. Right? Yeah. That's genius.
So it was great. And then through that, just did a lot of work with senators, like repealing the potency tax, like just creating, like having a voice to kind of create a regulations that would actually benefit small business retailers.
The other thing I see, not to be stereotypical, but you don't look like the average brand, right? So it helps that someone like you was representing the space and the industry in New York in a way that they could actually understand that this is a businesswoman.
Yes.
Versus like, what do we like? I don't know if I can support this person's agenda, right? But with you, it was the perfect package at the right time to be able to figure out how can we make New York compliant, and not miss out on tax money like in California, or So they probably realized the value there, and you bringing it in a palpable way made it possible. That's what I think happened.
And also it's just about that destigmatization.
Totally.
The whole like mainstreaming it.
Yeah.
In the net. No, absolutely.
And you recognize you're a great package.
I do.
You're a great package.
I do. I do present well, having the background that I have and stuff like that. And, coming from a different, I think socioeconomic, I do definitely benefited from that, having already like a real estate portfolio, like that did allow me to enter the space much more easier.
Yeah.
but at the same time,
that as a legislator.
Yes.
As I could see how their brains, because of course I worked.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I can understand where their head was at. Was not only does she present well for the space where we can actually feel like we're not doing something bad by allowing it, she also has a business history that is solid. You have, and real estate is the most solid for people, if you're going to fund something asset that you can see that will, especially in New York real estate, is a very good collateral asset, right? That you can show people.
Tangible.
And you have so much of it. It's not just one building. You had multiple buildings. And then you also had businesses that were successful. So all of that made it like a no-brainer. I'm pretty sure for them.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you because it's not easy for a woman to do this. And the fact that you did it and you executed it so well, and even when you're explaining it to me, I'm like, my brain works similar to yours where it expands and thinks about how to connect things. And I wouldn't have even thought of that. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, oh my God, Vanessa.
And it's also making accessible to even those fellow people who I'm not, who were trying to get into the space, just allowing them to have it a free, event or free, thing that they can come to and learn information wise. And by me allowing it to be free and kind of accessible, it also made me feel like this is something that we can share knowledge, that we can all learn from. And so I wasn't trying to just uplift myself, but also the people around me that wanted to get into the space.
Yes.
Because there is that lack of education. There is a big gap, where, but we're all learning together, It's a very small but big community of cannabis in this industry in New York. Okay. It's very state specific. So, it is a big and small industry. So I just got to know everybody. So from those beginning days, I was able to connect with a lot of the brands that we have out here. I know all the owners of them. We can be like, hey, what's going on, Mac from Heirloom or things like that, hey, no way off hours, where, just call them up and be like, how are you doing? And we just chat about stuff because we go back. I mean, I was putting on even Buyers Club even before there was even any products. It was just to kind of showcase, what's coming up.
Smart.
And what people are like looking at even in back, and this was like in 2022.
Yeah.
Before even the first dispensary was open.
Yeah.
But it was just like foreseeing what that, developing this relationship earlier on to kind of, because I know that they're going to succeed in their future of their thing. And they did, a lot of them did, using that as that, kind of pathway to kind of like, hey, we know each other in the future and we can work on these even continuing regulatory issues that will be happening in many years to come to make it more of a sustainable industry in the long run, and it's not going to collapse like other states that we've seen.
Yeah.
So, and just being part of that conversation really helps guide me where I am now to figure out like, what I need to think about, like compliance and all these things, like this doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, how can I change it? Where that's kind of where I'm asking those questions now, because I'm also now part of a separate trade association called the Cannabis Retail Alliance in New York, and we have a lobbyist, and now we're working on how we can affect those changes. Like this doesn't make sense. Like how can we influence that? So I've gotten to put myself in this position where I can have a voice in the industry and not just just take it as it is, but actually make changes to make it better and more sustainable for a long-term industry and not collapsing like other states.
So tell me, how did you decide who your customer was going to be?
I always wanted the customer to be me. So I really tailored it to that. I was like, I want a place where you feel comfortable. You don't, because I had visited, obviously through my years of research, like visited other dispensaries and the things that I didn't like or did like and all that stuff. And the one thing that I did feel a lot of, because it is a little bit more male dominated, just the comfortability level of going into a space, and it's heavier on certain types of music and heavier on the thing, and not as much focused on the customer service thing. So when I was leaning towards that, I was like, I wanted a place, like, I'm a mom, I have 3 kids, I actually love consuming weed and hanging out with my kids, and it's something that I, and having fun with them. I don't drink, and that's also another reason why I kind of got into this. When I found it, I was like, this is something that I really love, like that. I was like, this helped me so much, and I never had a chance to do that with alcohol because I couldn't consume alcohol, where I can't have a glass of wine for the day, where I can relax and really kind of get into my headspace, because my thoughts are like probably you, where it's all over the place, and I have trouble focusing on one thing because I'm constantly multitasking. Yeah. Even when I'm working, I'll have an audiobook on sometimes where I have that thing. So weed really makes me kind of hone in and kind of just forget all of that stuff and just relax. Yeah. And I think that as I've gotten older, now I'm mid-40s now, like really getting to that point where I can be like, I need to relax. Like I haven't really been able to relax.
I mean, even more, let's take a step further. You deserve to relax.
Right. Yeah, right. I guess. I don't really think of it that way. I'm like, I need to relax because I'm so much stuff going on. But yes, exactly. And so when approaching it that way, I was like, I want a softer space, a welcoming space. I wanted to do yoga, like high yoga, breath work, meditation, sound bath, because those are the ways that I actually like to consume. Like I love taking a gummy, doing an aerial hammock sound bath, and just relaxing, because I found like I'm not fully asleep, I'm not fully awake, but it gets me into the zone. And I found that helped me get into that thing. Just weed helped me do that. So when I was looking at that, and I was like, hey, I was thinking more on the retail side, like Sephora, how do they make it work? Like how do they, interactivity, okay, samples, like how do women like to shop? How do moms like to shop?
So good.
Mom and women, how do we like to shop? We like, nice branding. We also like, how we can interact with the thing, how we can ask people, customer service. I feel like, so I don't have kiosks in my store, which other dispensaries have, where you have to order everything on a kiosk. I don't have any kiosks. And it's just about encouraging my staff to be like, let's talk about customer service, welcoming them. If you're there, if you need help, but you can also laying out the store so you can self-explore.
Yeah.
All the information is in there. Where other dispensaries, everything is behind glass or on a kiosk, and you have to ask someone or look at things where in this case, they can explore themselves. And if we're there to help and support for recommendations and guide them, but not necessarily need to.
Yeah.
So I've laid it out in that way. And then even just the checkout line, little stuff that you want to upsell at the end. I don't necessarily like push for it, but I was like, for me, I would like to have a checkout line where there's lighters, there are matches, there are little things that I can pick up at the end as I'm waiting to check out.
No, that's brilliant, because sometimes you forget to ask for a lighter.
Exactly.
But if it's there, you're anyway,
you're waiting.
So that definitely, and I'm an impulse shopper, so that's something, so
well, women. So
yeah.
I feel like we all are a little bit of an impulse shopper. We're like, we'll spend a little bit of money extra just to pick up some other things. And I think that just honing in on that and just like doing that. So everything is custom made, of course, but but at the same time, I wanted it to be unique, special, different, and that throws it back all to like, if I'm going to make first of all, a business that's completely unique, which is cannabis and new to this area, to kind of support the building, to support any of those modern, major capital improvements like the sidewalk or any of those things, I can use this to kind of pay rent to have a sustainable business. And looking at that, even just to have like something where we're constantly engaging with the community as well. So all these like little factors is like why, kind of making it not just a cannabis business being unique, but even within the industry, making it unique.
Oh, yeah.
And different, because if I was going to do it, I was going to do it right and do it, the way that I wanted to. And this is exactly how I would love to shop. It's, based on mood, how you want to feel. So that's also a very different concept with a lot of other dispensaries in general. It's just like, if I'm trying to target the woman who's like me, who doesn't have necessarily a dealer in the past where they were part of the illicit legacy market, but at the same time, we'll get, pass a joint and we'll smoke it, but just don't know where to access it.
Right.
That is kind of the person that I'm targeting, making it comfortable, making it accessible, and making it so that it's user friendly. It's just easy. Like, how do you want to take your cannabis journey with intention? That is really what it was. It's all about intentionality. Because when I consume it, it was with an intention. It's not just to get high. It's because I use it for sleep, to relax, to work out, like yoga. I feel like I can get a better workout when I do yoga on gummies or something like that. So all these little factors really, I'm tailoring that into the store, and so everything has a reason.
Yeah, I love the color scheme. I love the natural wood paneling. Everything about it, because I've gone to a lot of dispensaries, and obviously I'm in California now, so I have even more experience to see how things are set up in different places. And then my husband had a cannabis law practice, so he got to he went to Vegas and did the conventions and all that. Yeah. So
the chaos.
Yeah. So
yes, I know.
It was very interesting hearing how it's sort of making its way through legislation, other states. You meet like the difference in culture, which I found very interesting, is in New York. I happened to come back here the day it was completely legalized. And I was coming back for a friend's baby shower, and I brought all my stuff from California, and I remember just putting it on the table while we were having lunch. And I realized it's so funny because here you can smell it everywhere. I saw people smoking in front of police officers, like actual flower. California, because they were one of the first, their culture over there is we don't want it out there, because if you do it too much, this is very early, people might turn on you. So the culture there is you keep it inside. You'll smell it everywhere, but not like New York. New York, it's everywhere. And nobody is going to ticket you. Over there, you can get a ticket because you're supposed to consume in your house, in private. So the interesting thing is California has been legalized for so long, and yet they're more conservative about their weed culture. Whereas New York is straight up, okay, because we waited so long in New York, by the time it hit, it was like, forget it. Like, what? It's legal. It's straight up legal. We're going to treat it like coffee. Yeah. We're going to treat it like anything that's legal, right? So I thought that was very interesting in terms of cultural difference, right? Yeah. But I think that in terms of being cool and like getting business. I feel like your location and the way you set it up is slated for like the extremely chic customer, the extremely luxurious concierge person that has decent income, that when they travel, they don't want to sleep in a motel. When they go get shopping help, retail help, they want to maybe get a glass of champagne where they shop at. Those, I think, are the customers that when they discover this are going to be here all the time.
Yeah.
And I also could see the fact that you do events is so smart because community is also the different thing I see in New York that we don't really have in California. We have a community, but because everybody's in cars, right? So you get more individualized. Here, you're all together. And so it builds more community to go to museums and to parks and things like that.
It's very activity-based here in New York, I think, in general, because everyone does walk around. And it's so walking accessible versus, LA or California or anything in those places that activities really drive, I think, the 20 to 30-year-olds here. And so whether it's like, for example, we have Mahjong Night, which was featured in the New York Times, like just drawing that. First of all, the reason why I want to do it is also bringing my culture.
I was going to ask you, did Asians come?
Yes.
And how old? Any older?
No. Yes,
a
a few, but the majority of are just people who are just learning and they're in their 20s and 30s and they're just like, something fun to do with the girls, kind of thing. And just to kind of engage in, because I feel like Mahjong is a little trending right now. So they are more, they're like, oh yeah, this is a fun thing. But just, I feel like there's just like a leaning more, like, especially with the alcohol industry being less like where we have mocktail bars now.
Yeah.
And things are a lot more about activity-driven things, where it's not just about going to a bar and just talking, but doing something together, like a game night together and then enjoying that. So kind of really, it was part of that. And so it's a combination of me bringing my culture to kind of the store and like all these things. And then on top of that, having that activity-based, kind of things that are going on in store to kind of engage with the local area and just bringing those, and mainstreaming cannabis, that this could be something that can be used to make it comfortable for people to accept, And so we do have a lot of people who are non-cannabis smokers who come to our activities just to hang out.
Oh, that's good, because they would tell their friends that might want to come, that might want to partake. And even still, it's just positive, sort of like, this is a great community. It changes the way that people have stigmatized weed in the past, right?
Exactly.
So you're sort of like letting people feel like it's feasible, like it's not something they should be embarrassed about. I think that's the main thing. Is like people are scared that they're being judged, and I think you somehow package this in a way where you take the judgment away. Yeah. And in fact, it's like cool to come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a mom and I have 3 kids. I mean, that's something. Like, I own the indoor playground for kids, and that's how Kathy, you and I met. We have, and that's still running.
Shout out to Twinkle Space.
Yeah, exactly.
Best birthday parties ever.
So, it was that, I think that perspective, like you said, like, it's just having women and, being a parent, being and introducing that into this whole thing also helps with this whole package, I guess, that we're kind of like, that I'm trying to steer it towards a little bit, and so that's, in a nutshell, that's really how it kind of all started and how we're going and making it work and kind of making it a niche in the industry. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting. It's a niche. The fact that you've gone press. I don't necessarily see press about this. So that also, because glamour, so you're a beautiful woman, right? Being a beautiful woman in this particular case was very helpful to legitimize an industry that doesn't have beautiful women represented. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It's just like, I'm kind of like blushing now because you're
well, it's the same as politics, like even though you don't want to say you're beautiful,
but the truth
is, keep it real. Yeah. If you present in a way that's easy to get people to stay and listen and to go, well, she seems like someone I could relate to or hang out with, that I could kind of trust, let me listen to her and see what she has to say about it, and let me make a decision if I believe her, right? And I think that you have so much business acumen that it lends so much credibility to what you're doing here. And I think probably I don't know of anybody that is in the space that owns the buildings. I mean, you know what I mean? That went to the politicians, that knew how to present, that created a network that, I mean, I'm like, holy beyond, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you're beautiful inside, as much as you're a beautiful person outside, your beauty is really your brand is the hottest thing about you, right? Yeah. And that only just shows, like, because you're a beautiful person, like, wow, that says a lot, right? So you can feel that when you're doing this, that you're sort of like Moses, like shepherding people to the promised land. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's something that I just want to give you your flowers and let you know that what I can tell, because of my many years of experience, my family would be like, oh my God. But my many years of experience in being a cannabis consumer. Yeah. And also being in fashion and having the design aesthetic that I can understand what looks good. Merchandising. Yeah. My favorite thing that you showed me in your store was the ability to smell it through this crazy container I've never seen before, where it almost looked like a perfume bottle. Yeah. But you're like perfuming your face with the smell from inside of the weed. And I was like, that is so genius. Also because I've gone to a place where they smell it. There's something about the pump that just makes it extra chic. Yeah. And I'm like, this feels like Saks Fifth Avenue. You know, so that's how I would explain it. I'd be like, weed dispensary meets Saks Fifth Avenue. Yeah. Welcome. Welcome to Vanessa. Yeah. And, you know, and for me too, it's not even just the you know, I believe in the people here to my staff. Like, I feel like, you know, for me, it's just about elevating all the people around me. So, like, you know, Lisette came from Twinkle, you know, she was GM there, now she's a GM here. And, you know, just elevating their lives, you know, and kind of where can we take it and as a group just to, you know, grow together. You know, so for me, that was also important. You know, the people that I'm with, you know, is always, you know, like I'm trying to elevate all the people around me, you know, and not just me. There's this thing also when we were coming back here to do the pod, and you asked her if she was okay. Yeah. And my initial thought, because she was about to eat lunch at the front desk, and my initial thought was, oh, she doesn't want her to eat at the front desk. Yeah. But then I was like, oh, no, she's telling her, is it okay if you eat her at the front desk because I gotta go record the pod? Are you okay to eat at her? Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's how you know that, like, my conditioning from the way that work used to be was always, you give up everything for your business. And like, all the staff has to adhere to a professionalism, and you never ever let them stray from that. You lead from a compassionate place of like, I care about my employees. I care about them and their ability to feel energy. I don't care if you're eating it. Who cares? Who cares if you're eating here? You know, whatever. That was such a refreshing thing to see, and for me to be like, it's golden. Are you okay? Are you needing to eat here? That's what I thought. It felt like that first, not because you do that, but just because my brain connecting to the way that, you know, the way that patriarchal businesses usually are like, you shouldn't be eating here. That's not professional kind of vibe. But you were like, no, are you okay to eat here? Is that okay with you? It's like, oh my God, I love this woman even more. She cares about her people, especially with, you know, everything we're seeing, how not people now aren't necessarily caring about the people that support them and work for them and build their businesses for them, right? Yeah. So that's another thing that, you know, for me, the altruism in the way that you lead is so important, because people want corporate responsibility. They do want to support a business that has good people leading it, good people that work in there, and everybody's happy. Yeah. So you have that. So I just feel like this is a home run. Like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. You know, feel free anytime, like, if you want to update us on the pod and what's going on, if you want to. I'm happy to always be on your stuff. I love it. So we like to close out with, like, are we the only ones that, so for me it's like, are we the only ones that feel that weed has a bad rap and needs to be treated with more respect? Right? Yeah, absolutely. Right? No, I think that there is just, I mean, because like for myself, I have not been able to even drink. You know, that is like a really big part of this, where I'm like, oh gosh, I found something that I can actually like use and to kind of help with my everyday routine, you know, and just enhance it a little bit, you know, so and relax. You know? Yeah, mine was, so then what yours on the same kind of like thinking of like why you do it. So for me, whenever I'm on, like, if I feel anxious, meaning like So for me, it was my frustration with my parents. My relation with my parents was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Once I discovered, first of all, when I discovered weed, I was like, oh my God, the government has been lying to us. This is not that seriously bad.
Yeah.
Why has this been kept away from us when alcohol is so much worse?
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, I don't trust the government when it comes to this because they have not been telling us the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I actually started doing it more regularly, because at that time it was like once a week with the boyfriend. That's how I got exposed to it. And then when I would have fights with my parents when I was in college, and they'd be like, we don't want you down there at a party school, because I went to San Diego State, and at the time it was the number one party school in America.
Yeah.
So like, we don't want you there. And I remember smoking and I'm going, you know what? Weed is so good right now because they are telling me they don't want me here, but instead of me freaking out and yelling back at them, I'm just like, I know, I understand.
Yeah.
I get where it clicked me into a place of, instead of being in a fight mode, I was just in a very gracious, like, dude, I get it, I understand.
Like,
so I'm going, hey,
you know, brushing it off. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, the ability to not react as quickly and then learn through years of not reacting so that when I'm not on cannabis, I also don't react as quickly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I process information. That was my medicine, was to sort of be like the traumatic feeling of like when I was parentified very early. So I was basically raising, we were latchkey kids. My parents worked all the time.
Yep.
My mom was a saint. My dad was very like hardcore Asian.
Yeah.
So, and being the oldest girl, they were disappointed I was a boy.
And
So
same thing.
weed helped me be like, I am going to survive through this,
Yeah.
even though my family does not understand me.
Yeah.
And so when I'm frustrated with my kids, because, you know, we had different childhoods, and sometimes I'm like, I could have never gotten away with that.
Yeah.
Like the crap you're doing to me, I would have never gotten away with. So at least if I'm like, I'm gonna go smoke real quick and just not get mad.
Yeah.
And I come back in like, what's up, guys? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing? Let's go watch Doctor Who. Or
Yeah.
I want to watch Abbott Elementary or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. Or tell me what you want, you know, versus being like, I can't take it, you know, like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's like moms would very much benefit from cannabis in general, but coming here because it's a safe space for moms to come and not feel judged.
Yep.
And also, tell me this, are kids even allowed to come in? You can't. You could bring your kids in with a stroller. Like a mom can come in and shop in here. That's the only problem with
You can.
You can?
You can, yeah. You're just required to check ID at the point of purchase. So at the register. So we do have
California. For
we do have some
shame.
kids.
For shame. Because we don't get to do that in California.
Yeah.
It's at the door. 21 and over at the door only. So if you're a mom, you like, wait, I can't leave my kid outside. And then you just feel like there's a judgment because of it.
So we do have people just
don't-
sitting at the front with the stroller.
Dude,
It's fine.
you guys,
Yeah.
moms in New York, I'm telling you right now.
We do have a lot of moms. They do come. They do
Come
come.
down
They do.
here.
So, it's definitely. I'm excited to see where we're gonna take this. You know, we're gonna start delivery next month.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But everyone does do that. You know, I'm just a little bit behind, but it's okay. Like I wanted to make sure that we're all set. I'm self-funded. I don't have investors or anything like that.
Badass.
So I wanted to make sure that my team was secure, that we were able to pay our bills, we were able to pay our staff, and also increase staff now.
Yeah.
And then before I kind of launch into next phasing and heavy marketing. So I'm really starting only marketing like the last couple months really, and really start, because it's a heavy investment, they're very expensive nowadays, even just SEO work and things like that, just the regular stuff. So, I really wanted to make sure that this would be, it's functional. It's, the operations are smooth and everything, especially coming from non-cannabis.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, just trying to get the nuances of like product selection and things like that. So wanted to set that up before we really launched in more heavy marketing and spending dollars that are, outside of just the operations.
So I want you to tell everybody that's listening what the name of your place is and the address and the contact info so they can start coming here or calling for deliveries.
Yeah. All right. So it's Alta Dispensary. It's 52A Kenmare Street in Manhattan, New York. And we're in like Nolita, Little Italy, Chinatown kind of cross section here. And we are, so you can, our Instagram is Alta Dispensary. Just one word, and
spell it out.
AltaDispensary, and that's it. And then our website is the same thing, but altadispensary.nyc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And we have a blog, and we have all this stuff. So in there, you can also find out like our events, and we have about 6 to 7 events a month typically, and then we also do, and we have a blog, and then just about all the organizations that we work with to give back. So we work with Send Chinatown Love. Now we're working with Heart of Dinner, but we also do like adoption dog events. So we work with Korean Canine Rescue, and they come, and so they've done 2 events with us here, and we're having one in the fall as well. So we have all the canines, the rescue dogs from South Korea. They come rescue, and then they come in here, and you can come and adopt them.
Oh my gosh!
You know, so all those like little things. I feel like, you know, for me, I was like, what I wanted to do. I wanted to like kind of use the space not just for weed, but also to kind of do these community engagements and like just like, and we fundraise for them and things like that. So all these little things, it's just, you know, to kind of help.
Ooh, maybe I'll have a fundraiser here for Born Leap.
Oh yeah.
Would you let me?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Absolutely.
Hell yeah!
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm so excited because that would be the funnest event.
Yeah.
And because they're based out of New York, so you can keep doing events.
I know.
Back in California.
Absolutely.
And
that's the thing. Like I don't even like to charge. Like even our yoga instructors and all things, they're just women who are just starting their businesses. So I make the space for them for free, and they can bring in their own people and everything like that. And encourage them to shop. But if they don't shop, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But I do it so, you know, I'm just trying to encourage their their practices, their growth, and their businesses.
You're supporting women, truly, not performatively.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's my big thing. I hate performative. I really hate performative behavior because I've been in enough situations where I thought, oh, this is like gonna be big, and then it never, the questions never leave the room. Yeah. And the answers that are valuable never leave the room. And it's like, what the hell did you do this for? And with you, I can see that you have an active sense of trying to build something real and actually have the time you put in pay off for something. Yeah.
And even if it doesn't, because sometimes it doesn't, right? It's still something that I would like. I want to do. Yeah. You know, I'm truly like caring. I do want them to engage. I was like, yeah, but we only have 2 people signed up. It's okay. We'll still do it. It's not a big deal. Like it's just, you know, to kind of get the word out there and just, you know, like and support them. Yeah. Right. So that's, you know, for me, that was like my way. I love helping.
I love it. So, okay, I'm going to say that I would imagine you do check your DMs for Instagram.
I do.
Okay, so if there's any moms out there that are scared about coming into a space for cannabis because they don't know anything about it, Instagram DM. Yeah. Right? Instagram DM. Tell the staff, hey, I'm a mom and I heard about you guys and I would love to come in. And, you know, break that wall down, guys. Like, I'm telling you, you'll be happier. Your kids will be happier. This is a happy mom creates happy children. Absolutely. And a happy spouse, partner, husband, whatever. And it's really time to take the stigma away. So I'm really glad that you took the time for me today. And next we're going to basically do a tour. We're going to do a video tour of the space and do a little video interview in addition to this. So,
thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, we're gonna close out here and we'll go to part 2 video for all paid subscribers. Follow us on social media. Are We the Only Ones Pod? And for IG, SUBSTACK, a TikTok. Actually, TikTok is Are We the Only Ones Podcast? Everything else is Are We the Only Ones Pod. All right, we'll see you in just a little bit. Till next time. Bye.